I'll just reiterate on the Trump tariffs thing. The market has already given a view that they don't like the uncertainty. ट्रम्प टैरिफ्स शायद हो सकता है 15 to 18% के बीच में आए फॉर इंडिया. Steel is a very, very major concern for us. I think we're already at 25%, and of course, pharma and IT. So the Indian stock market does not like it. I think once we have a bit of certainty, things will settle out. If you see corporate earnings, 23-24 was a very good year for India. But last year, 24-25 was bad. We had very bad earnings. In spite of that, stock markets had the first half of 24-25, yani ki till maybe September, December tak, the markets was pretty cool. And then, it started sliding quite a bit. In fact, in December, it had gone down to about 10% or so. Uh, our view is that earnings will not be massively like amazing. There is slowdown in the economy, no doubt on that part, uh, for whatever elections, things and everything. But I am seeing two, three good things coming up. Pehla baat, RBI ne, like I'll just come to the third point, which is the interest rate cuts. There has been a massive boost in the economy by an interest rate cut by the Reserve Bank of India. Addition to that, you have a good monsoon coming in. And if those two things are there, I think closer to 7.5% GDP growth rate and about 11 to 12% corporate earnings growth rate for Nifty and about 14-15% for the broader market hona chahiye. Um, as you also know that the equity market 6 महीना आगे से चलता है, but next year there is the seventh pay commission. Now the seventh pay commission is supposed to be pretty insane. I think kitna few lakh crores का spending आने वाला है over the next 2 years in the consumption space. And once that 2 lakh crores of spending comes into the consumption space by the pay commission hike, that's going to straight away translate into earnings. Because of the global slowdown, commodities are not at a good rate. So this is good for India. I think from an earnings perspective and from a macro perspective, 6.5-7% earnings growth rate, and over the next 3 years combined about a 25-30% earnings is pretty fantastic. Fourth is the valuations. सब कुछ अच्छा होने के बाद भी हमारी valuations बहुत सही नहीं है. We are still expensive. Are we exorbitant? नहीं. Are we fairly expensive? Yes. I think my sense is probably between now and the next 2 quarters or 3 quarters, अगर December तक if we are in the same range, about 25 के आसपास, automatically equity markets अगला साल का earnings ले लेगा. And I just want to tell you something. September 2021, if you see COVID, 12,000 का निफ्टी था. We went down to 7.5 पौने 8,000 के आसपास in the month of COVID, March 2020. And then by September 21, we were at 18,000 Nifty. Now, were 18,000 Nifty overvalued? Yes. But the market is not supposed to give you fair value. It will be over or it will be under. Then from September 21 till March 23, the market was 18,000, 17,000, 15,000, 17,000, 18,000, 19,000, and again at 18,000. So in that 1.5 years, market was range bound. It's already been 1 year from July 24 to July 25. एक साल market has been flat या slightly negative. अगर ये 6 महीना हो जाता है, then by census we will already have a 1.5 year of no or flat corporate Nifty growth rate. Is this going to be a concern for new investors? Yes. Is it going to be a concern for you guys? No. Because आप लोग steady long-term investors हो. My sense is over the next 2-3 years, we're going to see a 20 to 30% Nifty growth rate. This is going to happen because earnings are increasing and we will catch up to that earnings. People asking Mohit, तुमको क्या लग रहा है यूएस में? मैं बोल रहा हूँ मुझे बहुत खराब लग रहा है. आई एम सीइंग मैसिव इन्फ्लेशन, मैसिव बैड जीडीपी ग्रोथ रेट फॉलिंग. एफआईआई आएंगे पता नहीं. ट्रम्प टैरिफ्स, यस. Israel Gaza war, yes. Ukraine war, yes. India ka all sorts of democratic governance issues, yes. State spending going down and only going into the welfare schemes, yes. You know, there are so many reasons to be a pessimist, but I can only tell you there's only one real reason to be invested is optimism. I'm always going to be optimistic on the country. I'm always going to be optimistic on in the equity market. And there is this one insane thing which I heard, and it always stays with me. In 1970s, America went through the first time you had Nixon, you had Kennedy getting assassinated, you had the Vietnam War, you had the Korean War, you had the dollar going off gold, and you had the Watergate scandal and then Nixon resigning. You had all of that. उस समय अगर कोई बोलता कि अमेरिका में जितना भी कंप्यूटिंग पावर है all of that 50 साल बाद एक बच्ची के हाथ में होगा, we would have all laughed about it. But that's actually what happened. All of us use an iPhone or any smartphone, and the entire computing power at that time is there in a girl's hand. If you see, that time अमेरिका का जो जीडीपी था, आज के दिन Apple का मार्केट कैप वो है. The world is changing. You have AI coming in, which is going to be a massive game changer. And I have often found companies work around these problems and try to solve for growth. That is the reason why I believe optimism is the only reality. Thank you. Gaurav, next slide. Now, ideal world हम लोग बात कर रहे थे. In an ideal world, we should not have to worry about क्या आपके लिए सही है, whether it is property, whether it is gold, whether it is FDs, or whether it is equity markets. We also want that our money हमारे लिए काम करे. We want dividends, we want interest, we want capital gains, and we don't want to spend time thinking about money. We want to do is spend time with family because that's what matters most. Next slide, if possible, Gaurav. Now, unfortunately, होता क्या है? Something different. होता क्या है? Markets जब बढ़ते हैं, हमें greed आता है, where markets go from optimism to euphoria, and when markets go down to panic, then despondency and depression, we sell. Instead of buying high, instead of buying low, we buy at a high, and instead of selling at a high, we sell at a low. And we always do this and realize कि क्या हो रहा है. Addition to that, coffee. If you see, आज के दिन हम लोग पहले पैदा हुए हैं नॉर्मल कॉफी से. But what is going to happen is people has given us multiple options in coffee. Now you've got espresso, affogato, all sorts of expressions. 99% people अगर आप कॉफी शॉप्स में जाओगे देखोगे they are only drinking a cold coffee which is a cafe frappuccino or a cappuccino. The reason is our brain does not like too much availability. Decision choice, decision paradox हो जाता है. No, it's actually called death by choice or information paradox. Now, similarly, there is in mutual funds. इतने सारे म्यूचुअल फंड्स है लाइक हंड्रेड्स ऑफ म्यूचुअल फंड सही है बट कौन सा सही है कोई बोलता नहीं है. द थर्ड प्रॉब्लम इज fiduciary standard and suitability standard. If you see most investors, most financial advisors, जब markets गिर रहा था, वो saying, "So markets are down, buy, buy, buy." But if you ask them, last year when markets were up, did you sell? They didn't sell. They didn't sell anything. Why is that? If they are working, there are two standards in this world. One is suitability standard, where products work around you. The world works around the products. You are eligible for this insurance product. You are eligible for this credit card. You are eligible for this investment product. But क्या ये आपके लिए सही है? Nobody gives a damn. And then there is fiduciary standard, where you are in the center and the world moves around you. If it is right for you, then buy it. If it is not, then don't. We want ideally this. And I'm sure you know this, that last year this report came out, and this report comes out regularly, that a large portion of mutual funds do not actually beat the benchmark. But hota kya hai? Because you and I are not paying fees to our advisors, what happens is commissions ke chakkar mein, they will not generally do not want to change schemes. Or if they want to change schemes, they do not give us the index funds. Gaurav, next slide. So what I did was, what we realized, worst case scenario, sorry, best case scenario, if you were to pay your advisors directly, would the world change? What would they do for you? So we did a research, and I published a white paper on the Shree Wealth Builder plan. I back tested it and it works just using low cost ETF, multiple assets like Indian equity, Nifty, Nifty Next 50, which is basically large cap, mid cap, small cap, gold, fixed income, and a regularly rebalancing. You've outperformed the Nifty index fund. I repeat, the tortoise, which has got 80% equity, which is conservative, which has got gold and fixed income, has actually beaten the rabbit. Why? And I think this is a approach which should be used for everyone is it results in a smoother journey. And जो हम हमेशा से बोल रहे थे, consistency and simplicity always outperform complexity. Gaurav, next slide. I'm just going to share with you the results. The CAGR is 5% higher. The fluctuations are almost 40% lower. And the risk adjusted returns is about 56% higher than the index. That's the index. Most mutual funds are not even beating the index. Gaurav, next slide. So I'm going to talk about last quarter. The Wealth Builder plan, which is basically an 80-20 plan, has delivered 9.72% absolute. The category average was about 5.64%. Dynamic, which is a balance advantage fund replacement, conservative investor, pro-cyclical, delivered 7%. We had made some changes in the model last year, and I think that's working out well for us. This year, February, we launched a plan called Shree Smart Market Plan. This was basically because कई सारे investors said कि मोहित हम already provident fund के चक्कर में हमारा debt portion is covered. So we don't want to have debt portion अलग से. Can you just give me gold and equities? So we did that. With some slight changes, we did the Shree Smart Market Plan. I think this is done pretty well as well. Go on to the next slide. So Wealth Builder Plan. For all our clients जो 2001 April 23 के पहले थे, we had some Nasdaq in the portfolio. Uh, we exited for all our clients because first the valuations are still absurd. Then also it was absurd. And RBI restrictions have made it impossible for SIPs कि हम आपके लिए Nasdaq ले पाए because ETFs पे बहुत सारा premium चल रहा है. I think we'll come back and we'll maybe add part of the Nasdaq once valuations come down and markets RBI restrictions go away. We adjusted for REITs. We bought Mindspace and Brookfield. We sold Embassy and Nexus. I think we bought at about 6.75% rental yield plus appreciation जो हर साल का साल होगा. And remember हम जो 6.75% per annum yield पे लिए हैं, यानी कि 100 रुपए डालने से हमको ₹6.75 यानी 6.75 rupees rental आएगा साल का without doing any mathapachi and everything. And almost two-third of it is tax-free. Yes, two-third of it is tax-free. In the month of April, we reduced gold, we reduced Bharat bonds, we reduced Nifty 50. Basically, we bought it back to the model portfolio of, and we increased next 50 mid cap, small cap. Last year हमने equity reduce करके gold भारत bond लिया था. इस साल हमने उल्टा किया है अभी तक. And I think that's the reason why returns आया. Gaurav, next slide. On the dynamic, I've the triggers are गए, and we've gone from almost 70% fixed income in gold and REITs to 100% invested in equity. I think this year, this month, the market has been down. That is the reason why we are down by about 1% or so. The market is also down by that. My sense is hopefully by August end, once the Trump tariffs things solves, either the markets will go up or the triggers will be hit and we'll go back to conservative. So I'm giving you the trigger dates and how it has moved. Next slide, Gaurav. So I've also shared the philosophy, how we are doing it. We are using Bollinger Bands, pivot point, central pivot, and super trend. Right now, we are in the strongest market, so we are at about 27% Nifty, 27% next Nifty, which is about 54% in the top 100 companies of India, 27% mid cap, and 19% small cap. The model which has showed us that over a long run period, the returns have been, incidentally, it's a balance advantage fund, conservative, but the returns have been higher than the market, Nifty 500 itself. The volatility has been much, much lower, and peak drawdowns was almost 40% of what the market has delivered, resultingly in a risk-adjusted return, which is a sharp ratio of massively high, almost 250% of the comparable Nifty 50 index fund. So I think we are pretty good in this way. This is not meant for buy and hold investors. This is primarily meant for conservative investors who want. I use it as a replacement for longer FDs for my portfolio. Got it. Next slide. Now, Shree Smart Market Plan. Basically, ये wealth builder का बड़ा भाई है, where हमने बोला है 95% equity कर रहे हैं, where mid cap index will be 23%, Nifty Next 50 is 20.9, Nifty is 29.5, small cap is 6%. It's a very small cap percentage. ये portfolio is common as wealth builder. Gold हमने increase कर दिया from 2% to 5%. And instead of debt and REITs, we've added momentum and low volatility. We've also done away with quarterly rebalancing and 8% drawdowns rebalancing. We've done half-yearly rebalancing. And I just go on to the next slide. So I think I forgot to add part over here, where basically momentum index has dramatically underperformed in the market. So if I have to say this, it's like a seesaw, right? So in the seesaw, momentum index outperforms and then it falls and it outperforms and then it falls. तो हमने क्या देखा है, जब भी मोमेंटम इंडेक्स मैसिवली आउटपरफॉर्म करता है, उस समय हम मोमेंटम इंडेक्स से बेच के we will go back to low volatility index. And when market is in a bad shape, so this year February the trigger hit, we will buy momentum index from low vol. Maybe this will happen about once in a couple of years or so, or 1.5 years or so. The return has been dramatically higher than a Nifty index fund, and the SIP returns are also pretty higher. And I've also shown the calendar year perspective. In fact, the portfolio has fallen lower than the Nifty index in COVID as well. So it has done pretty well. Got on next slide. So these are our social media handles and got on next slide. Yes, we are open for question answers. So in case you have any questions you want to speak about on the markets or any specific things, please do let me know. Moshmi ji, Ashim da, Professor, if you have any questions, I'm over here.
Nothing as such.
Right.
Not much from me, but I think I missed a little bit in the beginning when you were talking about the Trump and the tariff. There was an issue with internet here. So you think
No
the
problem.
market currently the market situation that is, and it's expected to stay, even though I know tariffs will probably get sorted by, let's say, August, September for India point of view. And we've done a trade deal with UK recently. We're looking to do with EU, so hopefully all of that will go and help. But Trump, I think, wakes up every morning to say, what's new I can put in the news. So I'm sure there'll be something going on constantly. while that might or might not impact Indian markets as much. So I think, but the expectation is that with the volatility, I think it constantly changes in the market. That should still be okay for us to continue to invest in these. And in the short term, if there's small infusion that needs to be done, how does that and where does that work better?
Okay. I will tell you something what I am doing for my own portfolios. Generally, I have seen that, Gaurav, can you go on to the market noise wala part, the ideal wala situation में जो था, right? इसके पहले. Right. So generally speaking, my understanding is that whenever markets are down or there is fear or there is concern in the market, over a long run period, this is pretty fantastic. Having said that, SIPs are one of the best ways we can have to invest our money. Ideally, I would prefer that you do your SIPs in a smart market plan or a wealth builder plan and just forget about it
Okay.
because this is all noise and over the long run, it will not matter. I'll give an example to
True.
you. 5 years down the line, if you remember, 2009, 2020, it was COVID year. We started the year at 12,000 Nifty. We went down to about quarter to 8,000 and we ended the year
Mhm.
at a positive name. Somebody would say,
True.
in fact, 23rd March 2020 was the bottom low. I think 23rd or 24th March and 26th March it was COVID. And उसके बाद अगला दिन से market was going up. लोग बोल रहे हैं यार इकोनॉमी बंद है देश बंद है मार्केट्स बढ़ रहा है कैसे बढ़ रहा है I even like whenever the markets do not like uncertainty and whenever there is uncertainty it's a great time to buy generally. However, coming back, do not try to time the market just to an SIP. That's one of the best things.
So SIP is the probably the best way, as you're saying. Even if you have a lump sum, a small lump sum, then that can be broken into and done as an SIP. But I have another
Absolutely.
question quickly in terms of uncertainty that you talked about. Currently, because of a long uncertainty in the market, all the major capex investments from larger companies have been put on hold across major
Yes.
countries. Let's say, does that have a long-term impact on the market currently, or does that just eventually will fizzle out?
Oh, I honestly agree to you that this has been a concern that there has not been any private capex majorly. In fact, in India, the major government capex has kind of started to come down. My sense is you will always see that. कभी कभी क्या होता है if you remember COVID के बाद जो demand boom आया and companies were not able to supply it. And it's like, it's a very uncertain world with the AI, with Trump tariffs and everything. And
True.
good part is I don't have to think about it. You don't have to think about it. In the long run, everything evens out. See, economy is growing at about 11 to 12% nominal GDP growth rate. The average of India, Nifty 500 is growing at about 14-15%. And there will be bouts of uncertainty and stupidity. And we will take advantage of that. Because we are rebalancing. हम लोग small cap का 6% weight को 60% नहीं कर रहे हैं. Nifty 100 का weight को 51% का 1% या 100% नहीं कर रहे हैं. It would not matter in the long run. It's just noise.
Fair point.
See, every business is a smart business owner. I'm giving an example to you. If a hotelier decides that he's getting a lot of requests for a certain thing, and it's a Indian season. I remember this in Calcutta, Hyatt Regency has a huge garden, and they get a lot of demand for functions and everything. So what they do is they convert the garden into a covered space
Hmm.
in Calcutta in summer season. And in winter season, there is
Yes.
a premium for gardens and then they open it up. And I think they spend about 5-10 lakh rupees specifically for creating the garden and opening it and closing it up. Why do they do that? They simply do it because there's money to be made in summers.
True.
So whenever the business is getting an opportunity, they will do that, and that's their job. I am okay with it.
Yeah. True. True. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions before we wrap up and go back? Okay. Gaurav, can you go on to the second last slide if possible? Friends, I'm there on social media. We create some lovely content on LinkedIn. Um, if you want to connect with me personally, I'm on Instagram as well. We have a wonderful newsletter, Substack, which we sent out, and you also have my email address and WhatsApp. So please do reach out to us in case you have any questions. Thank you so much for being over here, and thank you for being my client. Take care.
No, thank you for today. And I think you've got to tell your son is a brilliant actor, man. He's good. He does it very well. I love the stuff
Thank
that
you.
he does with you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye bye.
Good day, sir.